Hello. Um, this is another episode of Isobet Talks, where it's less of talks and more of rants. At least thus far, these first two episodes will both be, I guess you could call them angry rants about anime. Because yes, I like anime. There's not much else to say about that. But anyways, for this one, I'm talking about, Mirai Nikki, or Future Diary, I believe is the English title. And I watched this one a few months ago. Forgotten exactly when, but I watched it a few months ago. And yes, I know it took me a long time to get around to it when it was released over half a decade ago. I don't know, like 2012 or something. And, took me until 2020 to watch it. And, well, it's probably a good thing that it took me a long time to watch it, because it sucked. It was terrible, and I know that, this show does not exactly have a reputation for being, like, amazing. Most of the reviews I've heard of it are just either it's not good but it's fun, or it's meh and not exactly worth watching but not the worst thing. But I thought it was significantly worse than just meh. The entire time I felt pained watching it, and, I know that, maybe just talking about an anime that I didn't like is, I don't know, maybe that's not what I should be doing, but that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, this is not scripted, as I'm sure you can tell from what I've been saying. I've not been wording things elegantly, I suppose. Anyways, but I do have a bit of a bullet point list here, just so that I don't completely just have no idea what I'm talking about, and have no idea how to organize my thoughts. So I just have a bit of a bullet point list here. And yeah, I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with, I have not watched the OVA. I have not read the manga. This is just about the TV anime. So I've not seen what is technically the ending of the show, because that is contained in an OVA, and I've only watched the TV anime series. So I think the OVA's 2 episodes or something like that. So if you have seen it, the last 2 or so episodes, I have not seen that. So if the ending is actually just the best thing I've ever seen and I'm really missing out, then oh well. But that's not what I'm talking about here. But anyways, to start off with, world building sucks. I've written here in my bullet points that it is comparable to a harem series like Bokuben and Nisekoi, which is not to say bad of Bokuben and Nisekoi, because series like that don't need really much world building. And it's something like a Mirai Nikki isn't going to need some Vinland Saga level of world building or anything, but it's going to need a bit. Because it is there is some stuff that we're just completely unfamiliar with. Unlike in Bokuben and Nisekoi, where it's just the normal world, there's things that happen to be going on there, in the normal world, with normal people and everything. But in Mirai Nikki, there's this weird god guy, and there's the future diaries, of course. And there's all of that, all this unfamiliar stuff, that you would need to do a bit of world building for, and, I'm not going to say that there isn't, but there is not much of it. It's, not great. The characters sucked, right? Personally, the one I thought was the best was, I've forgotten her name, but that purple-haired person who was like a terrorist or something. So, I'm going to ignore the fact that Yuno is yandere and everything, and I'm not a huge fan of that trope, but whatever, we'll ignore that for now. I did not like the thing about, like, the whole backstory with how she met, Yuki, because maybe this is just me, but I thought it was kind of dumb and didn't make any sense, and that just wouldn't happen in reality ever. And it's an anime, right? It's not going to be completely realistic, but this just seems like immersion breaking unrealism in terms of the characters. But what happened was, it was like they were writing their future plans in, I think, middle school, and Yuki, didn't know what to put, and I don't think Yuki did either, but then eventually Yuki tried to help her out with it, and then ended up putting, "I will be Yuki's bride," or something along those lines. I don't know, it was dumb. It didn't make any sense, and because she wrote some words on a piece of paper, now she's immediately extremely dedicated to this one guy. That part wasn't the only bad part about backstories. A lot of the other characters had just not very great backstories. I'm not going to go into all of them, but if you want to watch the show, I can't say I recommend it, but if you want to watch the show, or maybe just go onto the wiki articles for the characters, then I think at least some of you would agree with me that it was just kind of dumb. Like, it didn't make much sense, and it was just not great, not well written. And then the frickin' Yuki is garbage, right? Yuki is like some Kanojo Okari Shimasu character, except if he was a high school student and significantly more just bogged and just not good. Yuki kind of sucked, but I don't think anyone thinks Yuki didn't suck. But I hated Yuki's freaking big brain boost thing, like his Ken Kaneki parasite big brain boost thing that happened because his mom and dad died. Like, of course, an event like that is going to have an impact on a person, right? And that's exactly what happened with the parasite guy. I've forgotten the parasite guy's name, but his mom died. If I remember correctly, didn't have a dad or something like that. And his mom had died. But the thing with Parasite is, they went over the process of going from sad man whose parents have just died to big brain man who knows exactly what he's doing and is just like significantly better at the whole battling thing than he was before. With Yuki, Yuki Teru, what happened was, his dad died, and then he was sad because his dad died, and then all of a sudden, skip ahead to, now he's all of a sudden big brain, not like, of course not Parasite levels, it's not like a Parasite level of a change, it's not quite that drastic, but like, there definitely was a significant change there. He did have some kind of big brain boost, and they did not at all cover how that happened. They just said, he's sad now, and then skip ahead, now all of a sudden he's big brain. So that didn't make sense to me. And then the actual god guy, I've forgotten the guy's name, but he didn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm just pulling some minimum brain moves here. Maybe this just went way over my head here, but with the god guy, what I remember it being was, god guy was like Yuki Teru's imaginary friend, and then all of a sudden they're like, nope, not imaginary anymore. They didn't cover how that happened. They didn't cover how Yuki Teru was keeping in contact with this guy that was apparently an actual god. Or maybe he wasn't originally a god, and he was originally part of Yuki's imagination, and then became an actual entity. Regardless, they never went over how that happened, how it went from this is my imaginary friend to all of a sudden, wait, no, this guy's an actual god, and now have to participate in his death games. So that just didn't make sense to me. I don't know. The whole thing was just dumb. Bad show. Can't say I recommend. Apparently there's some people that enjoy it though, so, there you go. Maybe you'll be one of them if you choose to watch it. But what I will say is that I thought the show was terrible. And, yeah. Maybe I'm just not into death game shows. I haven't watched Fate Zero after all, so, you know, maybe that's just not my thing. Whatever the case, I thought Mirai Nikki sucked. And yeah, that's about it for this Isobet Talks, Isobet Rants video. And yeah,